Alrighty, what we're going to take a look at here is we're going to begin talking about adding and subtracting radical expressions. So remember a little while ago we talked about we cannot add the square root of 4 plus the square root of 5. That does not equal the square root of 9. We talked a little bit about that before, and we're not going to be doing that now either. But what we can do is we can add and subtract radical expressions when we have like radicals. So we'll talk about what that means in just a second. So I think the best way to start is to recall what we remember from adding and subtracting like terms. You're talking about variable expressions. So here if I'm adding 3x plus 2x, these are like terms because I have a common x between both of these things. And so when I add them up together, I'm going to have 5x. Notice the x stays the same, and all that's changed is I've added my coefficients together to give me the total grouping of x's. The same process is going to happen if we look over with the radical expressions. So now, rather than thinking like terms with similar variables, you want to start thinking about like radicals. Since I have a common radical in both of these terms, I really can add them together. This really is the same expression over on this side, except I've replaced my x's with the square root of 5. So nothing's really changed in as far as the rules of combining these like terms. So I'm going to keep the same process the same. I'm going to add my coefficients. 3 plus 2 is 5. And my common term, or my common radical, is the square root of 5. And if you don't believe me, you can always punch this into your calculator and see if you get the same thing. But this is all that I need to do to combine like terms. Same thing works with subtraction. Here I have 7y minus 3y. Since they are like terms, I can subtract these two. And all I'm going to deal with is really the coefficients. 7 minus 3 is 4, and this is going to be a 4y. Same process over on the right now. Why don't you give this one a shot? I'm going to pause, or you can pause the video here and see if you come out with the right answer. So go ahead and pause that now. Okay, and let's see how we did. So if I combine these like terms, I have a common root 2 as my common radical, my like term. So I'm going to do is subtract my 7 minus 3 to give me a 4 times the square root of 2. So I hope you got it. And this is going to become more complicated as we go further because it wouldn't be fun if we weren't to make it a little more interesting. But for now, the key foundation is you can only add and subtract like common radicals when they have the same radical expression.